coming to the leg press machine. This is something I've newly started incorporating for myself, and I'm seeing that I am lacking the ankle mobility, okay? So yes, some other ways we can fix this is by stretching the calf, okay? Strengthening the front of the shin muscle, okay? That's gonna help some, but another way we can actually improve this range of motion is by actually doing the exercise. Now, still safely, good form, good feel, okay? But by actually using the leg press here, you'll notice my toes are actually, or my heels, excuse me, are actually coming up off of the leg press machine, right? As the lower I get to the bottom. And why is it doing that? That's because, again, I lack the ankle flexibility, and I stretch a lot. I'm on top of things a lot. Again, I've just started incorporating leg press not long ago. So I know a lot of people struggle with this. So what can you do instead of stopping? You know, because generally, let's say when you're squatting, deadlifting, really any kind of, barbell, like bent over row, dumbbell row, anything like this, you want to have the weight more predominantly on your heels. Well, generally you want to do this as well with a leg press or any kind of squat or anything like this as well. But in this case, if you want to target the quads, you have to put your feet lower down on the leg press to target the quads more, okay? Now, the lower you get, the harder it's going to be for you to keep your heels on the leg press. So the lower you get, the more, it's going to test your actual ankle flexibility. So instead of stopping short, like I said, you want to at least come to parallel. So I'm recommending come down to parallel, but let your toes, doing it on your toes, let your heels come off a little bit. Now, not a crazy amount. Now, you want to work into this. Start off with half an inch or an inch, and then you can do that for a couple workouts, then maybe come off for a few inches and slowly get your form down better. Slowly teach your body, hey, we need this flexibility here. So let's, by constantly doing it, and again, extra good form, maybe to go a little bit slower, okay? Since you're coming up off, make sure you're actually keeping the muscles on the tension on your quads and not putting any tension on your knees. Over time, you can slowly come a little bit deeper. And what that's going to do, so let's just say if you say, okay, I'm going to come off 1 inch. Okay, well, that 1 inch, if you keep coming off 1 inch over time, you'll get deeper because that 1 inch is actually going to grow because now you'll actually have more ankle flexibility. So you'll be able to get deeper before that your heel actually comes off the leg press. You see what I'm saying? So that 1 inch will actually increase, and eventually you'll be able to get as deep as you want to. Like I say, I at least recommend getting parallel. To at least you'll be able to get there without having your heels come off, and that's the ultimate goal. That way you can still more so press through your heels and so more so your whole foot instead of just predominantly on your toes. But targeting the quads more so makes you push a little bit more with your toes. But anything squatting, deadlifting, things like this, you don't want to be using your toes at all. You're going to be falling forward, which is going to not be good at all. But leg press, it kind of forces you a little bit more so. I just wanted to let you show it's not necessarily a bad thing, okay? It is in those other exercises, like I said, a dumbbell row, a barbell row, bent over row, a deadlift, a bar, like a regular squat, anything like this, or like even a hack squat machine. But it can be used safely, so don't be afraid to let your toes come off a little bit. And again, but safely, keep the form good. And over time, you want, and do it consciously. You know what I'm saying? We get what we strive for. And so try to, over time, increase this flexibility again by also stretching your calves and working the front of your shin muscle as well. Okay, that's going to help as well. But then also putting it through this range of motion, actually resisted loaded, is going to help a ton as well. And as you're coming down, don't automatically just shift up off your heels. Try to really force your heels down and force that little bit of stretch happening. And then when your body is forced to raise the heels, let it be forced. But don't, when you're coming down, automatically raise up on your toes. That's going to be actually not building the range of motion. You want to kind of try to press your heels down as much as you can as you lower. And then when you're forced to raise your heels off, that's actually going to be building the range of motion there. Just wanted to share this little tip here on the ankle flexibility thing and let you know basically you're not doing it wrong, and then how to progress through this. Like, don't just stop where your toes come off, because you're basically probably be doing any range of motion. The more range of motion we can do, the better. Like I said, we want to at least get down to parallel. So let your heels come off a little bit, nothing crazy, like I said, and then, slowly try to build that ankle flexibility up over time. And it will, by slowly, trying to come deeper over time and getting that little bit of stretching. Now, you don't want to be feeling a crazy stretch. We're not trying to actually sit in the stretch or anything. Just keep the tempo moving like you normally would throughout the rep, the set, and over time it will stretch out. Along, again, I recommend doing this, stretching the calves and doing front of the leg muscles as well, strengthening the front of your leg muscles as well. All right. Just start out light. The leg press is something you can load up really, really easily on, okay? Yeah, it's not, let's leave our ego at the door when we come in, okay? We want to train the muscles and stay healthy, okay? Stay healthy. So, start lighter, build your form up, slowly up the weights over time, okay? We're in here training for ourselves, for our own goals, okay? We're not trying to impress anybody else. Trying to get better than the person we were yesterday, than the person we were last week, not better than anybody else in the gym or anybody else anywhere else. The gym should be a personal journey. That's when you're really going to stick to it. It's when you're really going to start seeing the progress, when you're actually in the gym, training, working out for yourself. Now, do other people like it? Yes, awesome. Does the opposite sex like it? Or whatever sex you're into? Or you just all the other extra benefits, essentially, those are just extra benefits. But it's got to mainly be for you. And you'll notice some sets, some reps I may come down a little bit more. Some sets I may not. Some sets I'm trying to really extra press in with my heels to really emphasize the stretch. Sometimes I'm not. But all in all, it's slowly building that flexibility. In each set, yes, the numbers matter 100%. You want to look at the number you did last time, try to beat that. But you want to beat that under the same circumstances, meaning keep the same exact form that you had the last time, the same exact tempo, everything the same. And then if you progress like that, that's better. But even if you get under something, what's really changing that muscle, yes, it is the progression, but giving it your best, training the hardest and smartest at the same time. It's not just the number itself, because like I said, you can try to speed up some earlier sets and end up getting more numbers technically, but if the numbers aren't the same, that's not really going to grow. What's going to grow is hitting that muscle, stimulating, exhausting it, putting it close to failure, that's going to grow the muscle. Getting under the set, under the weight, whatever your exercise you're doing, training again to your best, giving each set your best. And that doesn't mean you're doing, sometimes I do, but 4 partials, an ass of partials or anything, or it just means, depending on what your goals are, what you have set, if that's your goal, 3 partials, 2 partials, 1 partial, no partials, whatever. One rep left in the tank, whatever your goal is, you've set out, keep the perfect form, the perfect feel, the perfect breathing. That's what I call the perfect technique. And you just give it your best under those circumstances. As soon as your form breaks at all, you call it. That's training to your best ability, giving all your effort, and you're staying safe with it. You're staying true to your actual goals. Okay, you don't start sacrificing form just to get an extra rep, because then you're really not progressing. Okay, and that's actually how you get hurt. You get hurt, and guess what? You ain't going to be making any progress. You're actually going to be losing a lot of the progress you've been making. Okay, so just get under the weight, whatever exercise you're doing, give it your best effort, and that's what it's all about. And track. You do need to be tracking everything, but the main thing that's really going to be changing is the effort, not just the numbers. Okay, the numbers is just tracking. It's just keeping up with it, just managing what you're doing. The actual thing that's going to be changing is just getting under the weight, under the ball, whatever you're doing, again, giving your best effort. Again, it's not just training hard because you can sit there and do 10 drop sets. Yeah, and you might have times where you want to do something that intense, right? But it's not just about giving it your best in that sense. But I do believe things like that are important to really push yourself and grow yourself mentally as well. And it does shock the body and really force growth in the body too. But train hard and smart. Because if you just train purely hard and you're not smart about it, you're really actually training dumb, because like I said, you're going to lead to some kind of injury, whether it's just even a little small overuse injury. And I'm guilty of this too, right? Because got such a give it my all attitude, push myself so hard attitude. Yeah, there are sets where I'm doing three partials, 2 partials, or a partial every set sometimes. I know I'm training insanely hard, right? Really taxing my body. I enjoy that though, okay? And I don't recommend that for everybody, but you do have to understand the consequences of that. If you constantly do that, and you're not giving your body enough time, you have to really be on top of your recovery if you are going that balls to the wall and just training hard. But you still got to monitor things and make sure you don't have any kind of overuse injuries, okay? Any kind of developing small kind of problems of like under recovery week after week after week, then you're going to build some kind of injury, or training so hard, like I said, your form breaks down, then you're going to hurt something. So like training just purely hard is kind of actually training you're training hard but kind of dumb at the same time. Train hard and smart. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of stupid to be training harder than you need to be, you know what I'm saying? But I'm personally at the stage, you know what I'm saying, I've been lifting around 6 years. You know, for me to get growth, I have to push it harder than I would every day before now, essentially. Like the further you get into lifting, the harder you got to hit it to force that growth in the body, because you know you're getting closer and closer to the genetic limit, so you have to push it that much harder to get a little bit. You see what I'm saying? Like you could train half as hard as me for the first 3 years and make just as much. You see what I'm saying? Like, so each year you train, you get less gains back, right? Essentially muscle wise, but you have to essentially train harder, but you also need to be training smarter as well. You know what I'm saying? You just become more experienced with it all. But anyway, train, again, the whole principle, train hard. Yes, you need to be training hard, but train smart as well.